Hello there and welcome back to Delusions of Mediocrity for another battle report. It's my Deepkin versus the undead Legions of Nagash. This is my game 3 from the Rage of Sigmar tournament I attended, and we are playing Knife to the Heart. So here are our lists. Mine is very similar to, well, exactly the same as in all my previous battle reports. I'll change it eventually, but it's working for me at the moment. My opponent, James Houston's Grand Host of Nagash. He has a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. He has one of those ethereal amulets. They're just being printed like it's something to do in Shaiish. A White King, a Necromancer, Direwolves, a metric ton of Skeleton Warriors, slightly less than that Graveguard, 10 Black Knights, 6 Spirit Hosts. So here we are after deployment. I've got some Reavers, my Eternal Guard here. Thralls. I've put my Eels right up front because I wanted to see if he'd give me anything juicy to try and take out turn 1. You'll see my Soul Renders here. The Tidecaster is somewhere in this blob. And you'll see that I've actually put a unit of Thralls and the King off with the Soul Scryer and his pointy finger of Stinky Doom off in the Ether Sea. The reason being is that this is a sudden death scenario, so all I need to do is take his objective. So if I can sucker him out of his deployment zone, or lure him out, rather, I wanted a few more models to be able to come on and claim his back objective. He's been quite defensive, trying to screen off here, make sure I can't get into anything too juicy with these direwolves at the back, not giving me any easy charges on his zombie dragon. I outdrop him, but I give him first turn, given I didn't really like a lot of the charges I saw, and I figured again, I'll go see if he gives me anything good for a Flood Tide first turn charge, but otherwise I'll play for the double turn, and if I don't get it, at least I'll be protected by the High Tide, because he's all melee, so at least I'll have High Tide, and his Zombie Dragon is ethereal anyway, so the -2 rend that I'd get on the charge from the Eels is neither here nor there. These are our, well, not secret object, secondary missions. I've got to slay his most expensive character, which is the Zombie Dragon. I need to do that anyway. And he's got to conserve his battle line units, I think. So, he's moved up fairly cautiously. If I remember correctly, he's cast Mystic Shield on the Spirit Host. You've got his Graveguard here. His Zombie Dragon doing a bit of a cartwheel here because it's too big to fit down. Necromancer, and he's swinging his Black Knights around here to threaten my flank. So into my first turn, I go up to 2 CP, and I just go for it. I push these guys up. I didn't have any juicy charges, but I just figured, screw it. I'll play for the double turn. If they get charged by a ton of skeletons, I should be able to take enough of them off that they won't be too much of a threat to me anymore. I've pushed these chappies up as well. I think they probably popped one of these guys with shooting, and I go in with my Eels, and unsurprisingly, they just take the Black Knights off. So, he actually gets priority into turn 2. And he's just pushing forward the horde of skeletons. He really wants to make a dent in the Eels. He ummed and ahed about it a bit with the Vampire Lords, but he decided he wanted to go for he really wanted the Eels dead. A bit of Eel frenzy blindness there. Now, this is big for a few reasons. The main one being he's now not close enough to the gravesite back here to actually be able to bring his Black Knights back. And he realized that afterwards. I asked him if he wanted to take it back, but no. He was a real gent about it. He said no, he made the decision, he was going to stick to it. You'll also notice that the Zombie Dragon no longer has wings, mostly because it's a huge sodding model and they wouldn't fit anywhere. So there you go. Just magnetized, didn't rip them off. So, charges, everything goes into the poor Eels. I think they might be in a spot of bother, right? I wasn't sure about that one. So they go in, and I mean, between their zaps, they do a few wounds on this guy, and their attacks, they manage quite a few to whittle down these guys. But I think they'd been Van Helsed as well. So I mean, they just went to town. Absolutely horrific. And into my turn 2. I mean, not a lot else happened. He's been quite cautious down here. He doesn't really have a target to get to, so he's pushing them up slowly. my turn 2, I've brought these guys back down to try and take all of these guys off. I've swung my eels round. We're going to try and take the Vampire Lord down as well. Here we go. So I also brought on, I don't have a picture of it, but up at the top of the board, I brought on the king. He left me a space to bring on the king and the thralls, which was really unfortunate for him. So in my charges, king goes in to the wolves, the thralls go into the wolves. I think we hit the necromancer as well, unless he's moved away. The reavers shot off a load of skeletons, charged in, because you might as well. It's high tide. They've got 2 attacks each. They can make a mess. These guys just don't manage to pop him. I think he's taken 11 hits at this point. I might have already used the shocks. Anyway, didn't quite manage to kill him. But the important thing here is, at this point, it's the end of turn 2. We're going to roll for priority. His objective is here. I have more models than him here. And the scenario does just say, at any point from turn 3 onwards, if at any point you control both objectives, you immediately win the game. So, yeah, this was the board state. And we didn't even roll for priority for turn 3. Just a silly mistake. He forgot about the mission, left me the gap to bring my ambush troops on, which was why they were there in the first place, I suppose. And they just went in, boom, and took his objective and won me the game. So, short and sweet, this one. James was an absolute gen. It'd been a long day. It was a hot day. Got caught up a little bit. And I saw he left me the gap, and I just had to take it. I know I can't outgrind death. I know it was going to be a tough job. I had those Graveguard coming back at me. I hadn't been able to kill his zombie dragon. So if he got priority for the next turn, he was going to bring stuff back. And, you know, so I just went for it. It meant I didn't score my secondary, though, because the game ended before I could kill the Vampire Lord, and he scored his minor. So that was 31 tournament points to myself and 1 point to James. Great game to end the game on, the day on. We went off to the pub for a pint. Really great guy. Really fun game. But as a lot of games can do with Deepkin, smash and grab, end the game early, because you don't want to get caught in a fist fight. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon for the next battle report.